Okay, well, good. Well, really just a couple of things to talk about that are coming up, just as a group, and I think as our leaders that we want to be informed of, and then just have really kind of a heart-to-heart conversation after that. But we've got Dallas next week, so a lot's happening with that. And Meg and I just met earlier, working on how are we going to communicate with the attendees. Y'all, we've got 40, I think it's 41 people attending from our group. That is impressive. That is a good amount of EDs. You know what I mean? Like we've had maybe 50 like at Awaken or whatever. So 40 that are investing to go to Dallas to whatever. So I'm excited about that. That really is a good sign of people that this is important to them, that they want to find a way to make it happen. We did have some golden tickets. We've opened it up to a few people that are like on the path, you know, for ED and whatever, but we're excited about that. And Meg, do you want to just talk about like, you're going to send an email out and what we're going to include in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to send an email later on today, probably, that talks about the different things going on with, sorry, I had a call come through that I had to click off on. So we're going to send an email about the way that we are going to communicate with everybody. We're going to use a new app called Telegram that is really cool as a way for all of the attendees to be able to communicate. We're going to send out a Google form today on to find out where people are staying, to see if there's any interest in having dinner together as a team on Thursday night at everyone's own expense, and then with team time information. So just trying to get everything, making sure everybody knows about the decades party and all the details. It feels like this is fast approaching. So we just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Dee, do you want to share about what we're doing on Friday evening?
Yeah, so we're excited. At first, we thought we were going to have a place right next door that had this unbelievable vibe and whatever. But then as our group grew, they had a $4,500 minimum. So it would have been $125 a person. And that was before the 25% gratuity. So we were like, no, that's too much to ask people, you know, individuals to spend. And some people are bringing spouses. Meg did great. She asked a few people and got some recommendations, called a few, and we found a great place that's about, it's a mile away. So people can walk it or probably Uber there. And it was like less than half the price on it. So it's a Mexican place, like an authentic Mexican theme. They're going to put us out on their patio, covered patio area. It looks really cool. So we've just got to get the menu together for that. And then, put it out to the team, and we're going to probably use Ticket Tailor, which is what they use. That's kind of like Eventbrite or whatever, where you can do instead. Trying the Venmo thing is a nightmare. Like we were trying to save fees last year, and it's a nightmare. So we're going to I think use Ticket Tailor, which has lower fees. But it's all fast approaching. But we're excited about that. And I think one of the questions we have, the event, it says it ends at 5 and it says team time at 5. I've got to give the restaurant a start time. So I had tentatively said 6 o'clock. I just wanted to see, do you guys think that's good? People just go drop their bags, change, and go right to the place, or 6:30? Do you guys have a preference on that?
I think 6 o'clock is great because I know, personally speaking, I probably won't change. I typically don't at these events. Drop our bag off, and if it's a mile walk, it's going to take us a few minutes to get there. So to me, 6 o'clock is great.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. One thing we forgot to say, and maybe you're going to jump in, we're going to do a call Thursday night at 8 for attendees and kind of what to expect. Because a lot of people, this is their first time going to something like this. Meg mentioned one of her people had spent tons of money on clothes and all this stuff, was really worried about what to wear and stuff. So just really, Meg, I don't know if you want to say anything about it. Just really just want to tell people, just show up. And we don't want people investing and thinking they have to bring a million outfits and all the things.
Yeah. And for people to know, it's low key. A lot of the people that are coming, this is their first leadership event that they're attending, which is really exciting. They'll bring a lot of really great energy, but I'm sure you remember your first leadership retreat, right? they're different. They're pretty intense. And so giving people a heads up on how to get the most out of it and what to expect, we just thought would be good to get everybody together. So that'll be Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern. And at this.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you remember the anxiety of attending events. I was so proud. Lori Cole, can I brag on you, Lori? Lori said, I used to always worry about what am I going to wear and this and that. And she's like, and I'm not worried anymore. And I was like, yes, that's such growth. Such growth.
7 years of growth right there.
So I think, it's important for us to put ourselves back in the shoes of people that this is their first, they can be highly emotional event. So if you've got people with you or just, you see somebody there or whatever, just as leaders, if we can make a point just to help, have those few words with somebody, it can make such a difference. Such a difference. And I know as I was growing up in Optavia, and I still am, when somebody from leadership or whatever, not necessarily my mentor, noticed me or spent 2 or 3 minutes with me, it meant a lot. So I think all we can do to help everybody out will be great. The other thing I want to let you know, so everything for convention comes out this week. So registration is going to open, I think, on Wednesday. And there is a coach business call Wednesday evening. I'm sure they'll probably talk about it there as well. But everything's a little different. Corporate is being really good stewards of the finances. Like they don't want to have to raise prices of fuel lanes and do all the stuff. So they're being really good stewards. So there are some benefits they've cut out this year. Like there is no FIBL party, like special dinner for FIBLs. Things are scaled back quite a bit, which I'm glad for. And just an FYI, if you're not aware, there will be no virtual option this year. They've just done the math compared to the number of people that sign on, whatever. But they really want to get people there because convention is where the energy is, especially for newer coaches. That's where they capture the vision. So I had a leader say to me, like, well, I don't think I'm going to go. I just don't like the crowds and whatever. But she's got a team. And new coaches that would be their first time. And I was like, you know what? It's kind of like Disney, right? It's no longer about you, right? With that, it's like taking your kids to Disney. But team time is going to be on Saturday night instead of Friday night. The celebration of success is going to be Friday night. So we've got a committee that is working on ideas for us because we thought, you know what, many hands make light work. So, but what's exciting is like they're looking at cool things like Fern Bank and things like that. If you know Atlanta, like there's going to be fun things. So not sure exactly what with pricing, what we'll hammer out, but super excited about that. Stacy Gillen is leading the committee on it. So good questions. Registration, I think early bird registration, I think is $225. It'll be available until the end of April, and then it goes up to $250 a person. So a little bit higher on the registration this year. And I think hotel information is released this week as well. Questions?
I can't believe it's 3 months away. Like that's crazy. I feel like this year's been weird.
Yeah, super weird. Super weird. Well, speaking of which, and I'm trying to read the room and get an energy feel for the room. And my radar is not really, it's not coming across real good right now. But you know what, Meg and I were talking about earlier, and I think something to talk about. I'm going to back into this a bit, but I mean, there's no doubt that things are different right now in Optavia. Some of us aren't at the ranks that we were at some point. Some of us are not making the income. And when I say some of us, I will include myself in that. We're not where we are. And in a lot of ways, it can drag our energy down, right? Drags us down, drags whatever. And of course, that's going to have a ripple effect, right, into what we're attracting, what's happening with our team, what's happening with our clients, all of that. And I picked up a book. It's called The Dream Manager. It's by Matthew Kelly. I don't know. Has anybody heard of this before? Lisa, you're nodding yes. So I've Matthew Kelly, he's a Catholic priest. He's the guy I've shown some of his videos, but he, to me, is like just a great life person. And this is a story that of something that turned into something cool, but there's actually a role called a dream manager. Like there's actually a program and a certification, and companies do this. And I'm only about halfway through it, but he talks about the humans and dreams and that sort of thing. And I realized that like I have kind of fallen asleep, like because of I mean, I've gone through a lot of life transition, but also income drops and stuff. It starts to become a matter of survival. Like I felt like I was turning into my mindset was survival. Like, oh my God, like I need X amount, I need to get my rank, and oh my God, my income's down 10,000 and this and that, and it just becomes survival, which is not a really good way to operate. Would you agree? Does anybody feel that way a little bit, that you've gotten into survival mode? So like what he was saying, and it just, nothing other than just for us to start thinking about this for ourselves, because I think it starts with us, like where we are with our mind, and we can elaborate on this. But what he talked about with dreaming, there's always that, as humans, we're the only ones, right? The only species that can look into the future, think about what we want to create, and then actually come back to now and take the steps to start to create it. But what he was talking about was when people stop dreaming because they get caught up in the hustle and bustle of surviving. And once we stop dreaming, we start to lead lives of quiet desperation, and little by little, the passion and energy begins to disappear from our lives. And I think in general, I know a lot of the coaches that I mentor, a lot of my clients, there's just been a lot of very blah, and I think back to when I first came to Optavia, and when I was even mentoring and coaching, there was a lot more conversations about what do you want, right? And I feel like our what do we want? In my world, it feels like it's gotten back to like, I want to rank. Right? Like I want to be FIBC. I want to be this. I want to be that. And I don't know that that's because we're not getting it. I think that that's dropping the energy, and maybe the dreaming needs to look different now. But something else he said, I thought, which was really good. And this, what's interesting about this story was the story, it's a person who owns a janitorial firm, and the turnover was horrific. You can only imagine, right? Like, people that take a job to work in janitor, and it was horrific. And the owner kept thinking, I need to just pay people more. Like if I can just pay people more, then it'll be better, right? But it wasn't. And he ended up hiring a consultant who helped him look at things. And this is where the idea of the dream manager came in. And it was basically like, we need to talk to people. We need to find out what they want, and then be able to help them start moving towards it. And so it was interesting what some of the people who they wanted to be able to buy a car. They wanted to be able to buy a house. There were people that had never, whatever. So when their conversations and working with people became more about working to earn their income to buy the car versus survival, et cetera. But he said, if you ask people to talk about their dreams, in most cases, you'll see a remarkable increase in their passion and energy. Dreams are what drive us, and we have to find a way to make a connection between people's daily work and their dreams. If we can help our employees beyond the quiet desperation of mere survival to teaching them to dream again and help them fulfill their dreams, we'll create a loyalty and dedication that's unmatched. And I don't know about you. I just wanted to just open this up to conversation. I know, Meg, you had a lot of thoughts on it. But really starting with us, like, how are you feeling about things? And then collectively, what do we think? What do we think about this idea, and possibly like what's next for you, et cetera?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm actually feeling really good. My business is really stable, my frontline business. Where I've seen a real downward turn are with coaches. I think we probably are all experiencing that. I've had a couple of coaches not renew. And so that's where I'm focusing on not letting that get in my head and reaching out to other people, reaching out to their clients and so on. Because we know what we have. And someone asked me the other day, are you still coaching? And I thought, and I said, of course, but I thought there's got to be a message in that for me to take. And so I actually have a lot of energy around this.
Good. That's good to hear.
I love how you focused first on like what was going well, Gina. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I noticed that and I thought that was really good. So
Thanks.
that's awesome. And I keep on coming back. I would mirror or echo what you shared, Gina, and I keep on coming back to in times of recession, and we know that's where we're headed, right?
Once every 7 years.
Right. People need extra income, right? They need a residual income. They need this idea. So the need is there and will be growing. So that's brought me comfort in this season.
In a lot of ways, and Meg, maybe you can elaborate on this from your experience, because I know we talked about like putting ourselves in the place of going back. Like, I had a conversation with one coach that was like, I'm really having a hard time sharing coaching because it's just really hard right now. And I'm not making what I used to be making. And how can I bring somebody else into this? But when we think back to where we started, like my goal was to make $1,000 a month when I started this, $1,000, right? Like I'm way beyond that, right? What's happened is, I can get distorted in my own head about where I was, right? And start to think that where I am is not good, right? This can't be good. Whereas I'm thinking I got to break it down and get back to the actual individual, like who would $1,000 make a difference for them? Because we know we can help somebody earn $1,000. And Meg, you were looking back on your history around that.
Yeah. And I see Lauren came off video, so she might have something she wanted to share.
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I have the girls in the car delivering some food to a family in need. But yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, actually. And I think there's just been, and I think most of you know, or all of you know, honey, we're there, just give me a second. But there's been some, other challenges with Optavia in particular, with my family. And I think it's just been a season of having to reestablish like what is most important and to be creative. So creative in the business and creative in other ventures. I think for me, honestly, it's led to, okay, God, like, what are you calling me to? And Optavia is very much my main source of income, but like just being creative and like, okay, my goal and my dream and my desire is to continue to be able to be home with my family. There is an income level that I need to continue to generate to be able to do that. And so like full transparency for me, like I am doing florals and it's been so fun and so life-giving. And it's actually helped me with my energy with the business because it helps me to be in a more of a creative space and not to feel so like I have to earn this amount from Optavia or else kind of a thing, because I have some wiggle room. And so I feel like it's actually really helped me with both. And yeah, and I think just I love what you shared, Dee. I think just yeah, shifting dreams a little bit. Maybe we've shifted our timeline a little bit on like when we're, like my dream is no longer to be IPD in 2023. Like, like that was my dream. And so anyways, but also like kind of Dee was talking about, like just being content and really grateful for where I am, because the income that I am generating from Optavia is way more than I ever would have imagined with the time that I'm putting in and with being able to be with these babies, like could not have done that. And so still just so grateful. And I like that, just thinking about, okay, who could use an extra $500 a month? Who could use an extra $1,000 a month? Just being like, really, yes, it's different. Yes, there's more challenges, but man, what a gift that we have in our hands to be able to give and for ourselves too. So anyway, that was probably long-winded, but there you go.
No, it's beautiful. It was beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I'd just kind of jump in and echo too what Lauren has said, so Dee and I were talking about when I first started, right? Like I just wanted to pay for my food. I just wanted to help 5 people. And so I challenged myself earlier today to write down what would have my life look like today, April 10th, 2023, without Optavia. Like, how much would I weigh? At least 180 pounds right now, right? Like, what would I have done? I for sure wouldn't have come back from a beach trip last week because we wouldn't have been able to afford it, right? Like, my kids wouldn't be at the school that they're at. I wouldn't be driving the vehicle I'm driving. I wouldn't be in the house that I'm in. I wouldn't have been able to buy flowers for a friend who's going through something hard. I wouldn't have had Sarah make all these lean and greens, like so many things. And so I have this sign in on my porch that says, I remember when I prayed for the things that I have now. And it was just kind of a moment to say, okay, I think, my income has taken a drop. And so first I wanted to just throw myself a pity party and be upset and whatever, right? But I think this next phase is like, okay, let's see what we have and accept where we are and decide what's going to be next. Like because there will be growth from this point, right? So what is that going to look like? And so for me, that little perspective shift really helped shift my mindset. So I don't know if that helps anybody else, but to just go back and think about what your life would have looked like before Optavia in body, mind, and finances. For me, that helped.
That's so great, Meg. It like that, like I came in just wanting to replace my teaching income, and Eric and I kind of have a meeting, and he's like, so you're projected to this, which is still way above my teaching income. So if that's the goal, we're still doing that. And the other thing that I've discovered is I'm being creative in my client group. So it's taken a longer time for me to foster these to coaches, from clients to coaches. I feel like I am following the system, and then there's a hesitation on their part or something. And so one of the things I did was I started an accountability group on Sunday nights for my clients and to my coaches and anyone who wanted to come into that. And there are 6 people that have been consistent. So we're on week 4. So now I've been planting the seeds about see what we're doing. This is what coaches do, and so I'm working within my business, because we know that a lot of times clients integrate to coaches. So I've been creative in that regard too. So hopefully maybe I'll get a new coach or 2 out of it.
That's great, Lori. Yeah, the word I heard from both you and Lauren, and I think that it's spot on, is getting back into that place of creation, right? Like what we've always done is not working right now, right? And we, Dr. A says it, Lisa, I know you were there, Dr. A made a joke about, 2020, 2021. He's like, yeah, we just sat back and the business was rolling in, we had it good. But it was kind of a false reality of, we're back to 2019 levels, right? It really is back to like in that range. So we're back to building and creation. And you think about this, all the things, Julie, I know you're getting back to some of the basics of hosting events and things like that, but getting back into creation of doing things differently and the conversations and stuff. I think everything has to just look different now.
So if I can offer a perspective, Sean and I are very happy with our frontline volume and our client acquisition. And kind of here's what I see. I'm a big believer in numbers and a big believer in the numbers game. I don't, and Meg, you might be able to relate to this with your financial background. I don't think statistics and numbers lie. So I think what we're going to see is, I think, we're seeing a purge right now of clients and coaches and volume in the coaching business. But I think for coaches that are consistent and they're doing the do, those are actually, and I don't know the timeline on this, maybe a year, 2 years down the road, those are actually going to be the new batch of leaders on stage, simply because they didn't give up, they didn't get discouraged, and they didn't quit when the time was hard right now. So I'm a big believer in numbers, that we keep churning through the numbers with clients and doing the things that we need to be doing, that it's going to result in a favorable result down the road.
Yeah, consistency and staying in the game is, it's, number one. I mean, Lori did that great thing with the ED group the other day on last Monday with about the power of consistency. And it's true. And it is why, when they say EDs, only 6% of coaches make it to ED, right? Why do 94% not? Most of the time it's because we know they don't, they can't get out of their own way, or, get discouraged or whatever. And then there's a reason why, 0.5% make it to IPD, because it's, you're getting beat up the same way. Like there's the same, rejection and this and that. And the other thing is just it's what you decide to do with it. And I think that kind of comes back to the dreaming again, right? Like, what are you really in it for? You know what I mean? Because if we're not real clear on that, I think it's like our clients when they're not real clear on their goal and it's fuzzy and this and that and the other. Well, what happens? It's just wishy-washy, and discouragement seem way bigger and all the things. So I think it come from me anyway. It kind of comes back down to getting to the heart of it. Like, why am I doing this? What is it that I want? What does success look like? So, but you're exactly right, Frank. It's through, yeah, that's why they call it separation season through now. It's the people that choose to work through this, ones, I call it who moved my cheese, right? That's total old school corporate talk, but somebody moved our cheese. So what are we going to do about it? Right.
I'll share too.
Yeah, Julie.
I've had quite a few conversations with Amy the past couple of months because I'm kind of finishing up one-on-one with her. And I've asked her that, like, what do I do in this season that's hard? Like, I think we were all probably really spoiled the past couple of years. So I really liked whoever said, like, being grateful, because if you go back to what we have, I've talked to Jason a lot and I'm like, well, if we want this kind of income, what should I do with something else on the side? And so that's what Amy and I were talking about. And, Optavia is a gift and we have this amazing income. She said, focus on what else can you do? Or what else, like Lauren said, what else do you need to do within the business or on the outside that makes the creative juices flow and you just have fun again? So I think all of us probably just thinking outside of the box, that helped me a ton. I hung up with her a couple of months ago and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so freeing, just to think there are other things you can do within the business, outside of the business, like what will make me have fun again, just in my life and day to day. So thinking creatively, the creation is definitely what gave me a lot of freedom and just hope too. Hey, we are really blessed, but if I still want a certain income, what else am I going to do?
Right. And I love what you said, that a lot of times it's even within our own business, right? A lot of times we're just on rinse and repeat. We keep doing the same thing, which, what's that phrase? Like, there's something about that, there's a phrase around that. But I mean, I personally know, like, there's things I'm not doing, that I'm choosing not to do. And there's definitely a consequence to that as well. So then I think it comes again back down to the clarity, like, how bad do you want it? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I love that you gave yourself permission. And I'll just be fully transparent.
Amy, help.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was me, going through a divorce and being on my own financially and all that stuff. I mean, I am a catastrophe person. Like, some people can go into fantasy, like, it's going to be so great. And we're going to be, I'm like, the sky, so I have like the world, and then the question was posed to me at one point, like, well, what would you do if it went away? And I was like, well, I made it to the top of a sales thing of 60,000 coaches. Like, if I believe in something, I'm a hard worker, I can figure it out. I would go find something else. But it just gave me freedom. Like, the world wouldn't fall apart. There's options out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like, for me, it was just, but I don't want to go anywhere else. I have absolutely no desire to do anything else but this. So it's just interesting that it's our thought patterns and whatever, I think most often, that get us in trouble, right? Because it puts us in that panic mode or trapped.
I will say too, as soon as that conversation happened, it was like this, I can't describe it, but it was like this pressure, like, left. Like, I was like, ah. And then that afternoon, one of my best friends called and said, hey, I have a coworker that's done Optavia that wants to restart. Like, all these things started happening literally that afternoon. And I was like, that is what we all have to remember, like this is not just me, this is the common thing, like, and be reminding coaches of this too, your team.
Yeah, 100%. That energy, right? You had an energy shift, and I mean, I don't know, I believe in the woo-woo, and that's a woo-woo thing, but you know what I mean? You shifted, you were more receptive, and there it starts coming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think you shared that too, Meg, like how our energy, what our heads saying is what impacts big time, what happens in our business and at home and everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Does anyone else have anything to share? Vicky, Lisa, anybody who hasn't shared yet today?
I can share. I mean, my frontline volume is good. I've got a couple of clients, new clients this month, and I've, I made the bonus last month, like all that's fine. Personally, and this is like all in my head too, but my husband sold his company and then worked for one of the companies that bought a part of his practice, and that ended terribly. We had to hire an attorney to get him out of, and now we got the whole non-compete and whatever. So basically, he left last July, and this is, I mean, he's got other things, but basically he hasn't really landed. He's doing a lot of seed planning and he's got a lot of irons in the fire, but I'm just waiting for that first something, because I personally feel a lot of pressure, but this is part of like my work with Amy is when my dad lost his job and I was 8, I was going to go out and get a paper out. So it's like that hero, I need to go save the day. And he's like, I could retire now and we'd be fine. But I feel that sense of pressure. So I'm constantly reminding of myself of who can I serve versus who do I need to get? But there's definitely, it's hard for me to let that go. Really hard for me to let that go, even though intellectually it's one thing, but it's just nice when you're used to a dual salary, like all of a sudden I'm questioning all the little things I want to do. Can't do that now, need to wait, kind of thing. So anyway, so that's my struggle. The other thing as I'm listening to this conversation, I think that maybe one of the areas that I need some help with is, and do this more of a conversation with you and me, but I've got some coaches that I think given the right scenario could boss, like I haven't talked to anybody about convention because I kind of in my head was thinking going to Dallas, I don't know that I have anybody who's going to go, but then again, I haven't asked. So I probably need some help with generating curiosity and passion and what's possible with some of my coaches that are not doing anything, but not doing things. You know what I mean? Like I had like a coach text me, she goes, oh, can I share the choose to lose? I'm like, where have you been? Do you know what I mean? Of course, but I'm like, do it yourself. Like this, you don't need to share from me, but like this is stuff you need to be sending your clients. So, what I think I'm communicating is not being received well. So again, the potential for somebody to bust out and see what's possible. I don't know how to move people from this space to that space. And I think that's when we talk about our businesses and, the waxing waning, I think we all kind of agree that it is the way it is, but I feel like I'm potentially letting things squander that could fizzle away versus things that are squandering that could leapfrog. And I'm missing that opportunity. But that's my own fault. I don't know how to, I don't know what to do next. So anyway, sorry, I'm kind of being random here, but
well, I think that's huge self-awareness, Vicky. I mean, it's huge self-awareness around it. And we can certainly go through like, in your mentor session, go through people and like kind of talk about it and then how, whatever. But I think it comes back to that reminder and it's been kind of hard because there's been so much on virtual that I think people do get kind of burned out and tired on another Zoom, like whatever. But events really are where people capture capture vision and see what's possible and see it outside of our organization. And, somebody they connect with, you know, the personality wise or whatever. So I think the conversations always have to come back to that, to getting to people at events. If you are local, we're going to do just a local event on April 29th. If we can bring people to that, but I think getting back to that and encouraging people to come is going to be a big piece of it.
Yeah, and I'm actually, just FYI, I'm out of town. I'm in Cancun. Yeah, I wish I could be there. Well, I don't wish I wasn't going to Cancun, but I'm just saying, like, I have some people that I need to get there despite the fact that I'm not going to be there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, you can do that.
Hey, Dee, just to
Yeah,
kind of
Brian.
piggyback on what Vicky said, I think collectively as a group here, we can all agree energy's low. We all see the same thing. We're all experiencing the same thing. Maybe a topic for a future FIBC Zoom is, I think it's great that we're acknowledging that, but what can we all do, or what are some steps we can do to kind of raise that energy to increase things? Because there's 10 people on here. And like we said, I mean, this is the top, 2% of Optavia right here, or FIBC and above, or whatever that number is. So these are brilliant minds here. Well, 9 of you are brilliant. I won't put me in that category, but these are brilliant minds here. These are people that have done the do, that have struggled, that have, gone through rejection and failures and have done the work. Maybe, in the future, what collectively are some ideas as a group or individually we can do to kind of raise that energy.
Can we do it now?
Mhm.
We got
Yeah.
time.
Do it on
What-
team time too. Both.
What do you mean by that, Julie?
Just being more strategic with team time. I don't know. I think I texted you that last week, like, come, like, what's a challenge? Let's talk about how to make it better. Like, coaches, bring your challenges to the team time and let's all strategize, or have a couple people helping with the newer coaches or us, or just let them see we're real.
True. Yeah, more interaction. Yeah.
And strategic. Like, I think, Frank,
Mhm.
you're right on. Like, what's strategic could we do?
Mhm.
Yeah. I was listening to Vicky and think, the words passion and creativity coming back. And what's striking me everywhere I look right now, and it's me, it's get in gratitude, be grateful, gratitude changes everything. So the message that keeps coming to me from the universe, for me, clearly, is gratitude. And practicing gratitude, and what a difference that makes. We all know it makes a difference. If you're practicing it, it makes a difference. If you're not practicing it, like me, like, I'm clearly being encouraged to start. And I think the other thing that's, as I'm reflecting, I was just listening to all of you, reflecting back to when you said 2019, we were more kind of strategic, task oriented, and that helped us build that passion and creativity. Because what's happening now, I think about when I'm working out with my trainer and she and I are just talking and she tells me what to do and I do it. And more often than not, you guys, I'll stop and say, how many of these do I have to do? And she'll say, you have 2 more. So I'm always wanting to give up when I have 1 more or 2 more reps of the exercise I'm doing. And I feel like maybe we're in that because we have to do more now to acquire clients, to acquire coaches, and people are starting to get to the point and they give up and they back up a little bit when they maybe only need to make 2 more calls, or maybe need to make 1 more call, right? But because it feels like we're working for nothing, because we don't see that paycheck coming in, we don't see that income coming in. And I've seen some coaches on my team who used to be in a corporate environment dig more into that corporate mentality and sit at their desk 8 hours a day and get frustrated because they feel like they're working all the time and not getting any results. So just, I'm sort of processing out loud too, but I just feel like it's morphed into, we've lost the dream, or we all need a new dream. I mean, I'm in that camp. I need a new dream. For a lot of different reasons, not the least of which is my life has completely changed in the last 18 months. And now I'm in a very different position in my life, and I'm trying to see what still fits. And so I'm very stagnant in my business. Sort of by choice, though. I mean, I was getting stagnant before the economy started to hit us, but I'm still over here thinking, well, does it fit? Do I want to do it? And then somebody popped up last night and said, are you still enough to be a coach? I want to talk about becoming a client. And that happens occasionally, not as much anymore, but people are still out there. They still need us, and we're still asking the questions. And I think maybe that's something for us at this level too, is that whatever dream we had, we've achieved some or much or most, or maybe even all of it. And now we're like, okay, well, now what do I want? So that was a lot, but that was all the thoughts I was thinking as everyone was talking.
I think it's great. I want to let Sarah speak. It looks like you unmuted yourself, Sarah.
I did. Hi guys. Can you hear me? I'm in my car. Okay. Just listening to everybody, I do feel like for me, when a lot of you say go back to 2019, go back to 2000, and before that and what we were doing, I'm completely lost when I hear that. Because I have only coached in, 2020 and beyond, when evidently everything was booming like no other time, or, whatever. And I am frustrated. I'm sad. I feel stifled. I feel like I'm doing what I've always done, and I don't really know what else to do. I don't know what's next. And so I would love to know specifically what was 2019 and before that, and what we can do, because totally feeling I won't say I'm hopeful, but I just need to know like what else to do.
Well, thanks for being honest around that, Sarah. And one thing that, we were talking about this morning was that you said, like, I'm sad and whatever. And like, it's okay to like grieve some, right? Like what we had, or the way we wanted it to be. I think you have to process that. Like that's why I wanted to talk about this. We can't just necessarily put on rose-colored glasses and be like, it's fine. It's not. Income is down. But again, it's exactly what Lisa said. You get that place of gratitude, right? Like we can go back to DMV days, right? For you and whatnot. Yeah. But the creativity, I think the things that jump out at me the most around it, and I think back to like when Lisa came on as a coach, and when Julie came on, and when Meg came on, and we hosted local events, right? We invited people to our home and whatnot, or a location. We met people for coffee. We got together with people. We thought about people for coaching and approached them directly, about the coaching opportunity. I think it was much more intentional. Like, again, you have to be very grounded in what you're offering and confidence in it, because it is uncomfortable. But, gosh, I think 3 people on this call are people that during that time that I directed, went directly to about coaching. So I think that even the program itself, more being intentional, whether it's reaching to inactives or to people on your heart, paying attention to that. And I would love some of, some other, what's not working right now is social media. And that's what was working so great for a while. And I will tell you, corporate is working on some things. Basically, everything with social media is they want they want you to pay for stuff. So when they see pictures with writing on it and things like that, like it's just getting squashed out of the newsfeed because they're realizing it's business. And so they are doing research on it all, and actually doing some pilots on some, like if somebody had like did paid for sponsored ads or paid for like pages and stuff like that. Like they are looking to see, like, again, kind of who moved our cheese, what would work, but they don't want coaches randomly out trying new things or putting a lot of money into things that may not be cost effective. So I just want you to know that the company is very aware of this as well, and trying to do what they can to help us also. And the business call this week is on expanding your reach. The 8 o'clock on Wednesday night, the topic is expanding your reach.
So
But oh, go ahead.
Getting back to Meg's question, can we do it now? One of the ideas that popped in my mind, I think the July convention is going to be a game changer for our business collectively. And I think, but I'm probably like a lot of you, I don't want to wait till July to have a game change. That's 3 months away, but I think it's going to be a game changer. I think people need that environment. I think people need that group. I think people need that bigger picture. So one of the ideas that popped in my mind, and there were 10 of us on here a minute ago, just an idea. If we all put $100 in a pool, that's $1,000. And we can offer a scholarship at a random drawing to a coach that registers to go to convention, but it wouldn't have to, it'd have to be like a newer coach or somebody that's never been, because I don't think that would be worth our while to pay $1,000 somebody's already been. So just a thought that might generate some excitement. And $100 per person is probably, hopefully not that much for all of us. And the second thing is, I think, you know, and probably D, you're probably going to be doing this starting Monday night, is we really need to be promoting the crap out of convention between now and July. I mean, every conversation I'm having with coaches already, I'm starting to drip convention. And I didn't know when registration was, but now that I know it's going to be this week, that's all they're going to hear from me.
This just came to me, and let me know what you guys think about it. The topic came up earlier it was actually, if it's okay, Lauren, if I share that some people weren't crazy about the fact that we were celebrating and sharing the client support bonus, right? That they didn't like it, which we know is a comparison game. It's the comparison nonsense in our head. And so usually it's the people who aren't achieving things that, you know what I mean? It makes us feel insecure, et cetera. But what I told Lauren was, I said, I would bet my bonus from last month on the fact by sharing it, we probably tripled the amount of people that actually earned that bonus. Because, you know, people were getting into a mindset of it just doesn't happen. People aren't interested. But when they saw other people, there were people that were like, by golly, I mean, they're messaging Eddie, I got my third, you know, can you make my picture? You know, like they wanted the recognition. So one thing as an organization is I'm realizing that there is a lot of importance with recognition. And so that's why we're doing more for that. And we want it just to be as healthy competition. Right. So if you get feedback from your coaches, you know, like I said, for a lot of people, it does inspire them. But what do you think about this as a team? And there's a couple of reasons I'm pulling to this. And like we talked about on team time, what if we set some goals as leaders? Like the things that are going to drive energy are things like, what drives energy on the team is when people start growing and they see growth around them, right? That's why when we're sponsoring and you have people that are moving up and you're like, this one's senior coach and that, there's an energy and a frenzy around that. So we know that sponsoring needs to increase, right? Like that is good. And then they have a new population of people. They're going to bring new clients in. That's going to feed energy into the client group, et cetera. So I was thinking of 3 areas that maybe we as a leadership team, this is just an idea, you can say no, but we talked about maybe trying to get team time to 100 people, right? Like setting a goal, like a couple of goals like that, which that's going to, it starts with us, right? Like us reaching to people on our teams, et cetera, but like a team time goal, maybe another number of new coaches in the organization goal. I'm just thinking out loud, like that we actually have a strategic goal that we're working towards with it. And then maybe a goal of how many we want at convention. I don't know. I don't know if that resonates, makes you uncomfortable or whatever, but I'm thinking maybe as a team, if we're leading towards some certain things, I don't know, thoughts?
I think that's a great idea. And then as people register for convention, celebrating that, like have Eddie put a picture of them up, like so-and-so registered for convention, you know, I think that would create energy too. But yeah, 100 people at team time, maybe it's 100 people we want registered for convention. There's something about 100, I think, right? I don't know.
I like it. I like it. And then like our new coaches are way down. But like we were, and I remember the reason that popped in my head was I remember Jamil did he had set a goal, like he was going to have 100 new coaches in his organization in a month or whatever it was at the time. And I mean, they were on it and, you know, whatever. So, I mean, honestly, right now, like for this month, we have 1, you know, I think we had 7 last month. It's really low. So, yeah, maybe Megan and I can get our heads together. But I feel like if I had that goal too, like it's going to make me step up because it's going to, when we're doing it and leading, that's when others will follow. Other thoughts on that? What do you guys think about the goal setting?
Yeah, I like the fact that celebrating people that just register for convention. I mean, if it's 5 a week or 10 a week or 1 a week, mention their name or something, or show their picture on team time. And, getting back to your comment about the client acquisition bonus plus recognition, although some coaches may feel like, one way, I think, and we've heard from some of our coaches, I really want to get recognized too. I really want to get to that goal. And I think it's kind of spurring them on. So I think it's more of a positive than a negative.
Exactly. I mean, I know for a fact, like I said, we probably tripled the amount, and it surged my energy. I didn't get it. I didn't get the bonus, but I wanted to celebrate the people that did. And it made me think at a time when I was getting kind of like, ugh, just watching, T-Gen drop, like, it was like, whoa, no, there are coaches out there that are, attracting new people. There are people that want this. So, and yeah, I think celebrating the sponsors too. We celebrate new coaches coming on board, but maybe we celebrate the sponsors too, with it. So
I was going to
I
ask.
wonder if, sorry.
Well, no, I
Go
was
ahead.
just going to ask, like, when the global, like going to global, like you've been posting the little pictures. I mean, I think like that's been, I mean, hopefully that's, and I know there's a qualification for that, but they've kind of, obviously they became a little bit more lenient, but I'm hoping that the people who didn't qualify, that saw those people going, that was, an impetus to them, for them to.
yeah, it definitely did. We had some people, like, when they saw the list, they were like, oh, they saw the picture. I don't want to miss out on that. Like, it was something that pushed them over.
And hopefully when we come back, the FOMO from the people that didn't go will make them go ahead and register for convention. Sarah, what were you going to say?
Just a thought. I just wonder if maybe a good middle ground with celebrating the bonus and celebrating registration for convention and the new goals that we may implement and all of that. I just wonder if a good middle ground of celebration for everyone might be to celebrate everything like that weekly in a lump rather than all the time in the news feed. For one thing, some people may be discouraged, some people are not, but then also just that it is in the newsfeed all the time, and then we have other things that we may need to find or to see. But I just wondered if like lumping everything weekly or something like that might be better, just as an idea to kind of hit that middle ground for everyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely something to think about with that. I hear what you're saying with it, for sure.
I agree with that too. I think I get what we're doing. I think I've heard several people say, several of the coaches that I work with say, like, feel like it just comes across as so salesy, like, and just about numbers. And like, I feel like what we really need right now is more heart and more joy and more of the mindset of like, well, why are we really doing what we're doing? And that's not just for the numbers. It's not just for, and I do think I really want like our coaching page to be, something of value, something people want to go to because they want to get value. And so I think I would agree with Sarah on that front.
And as a group vote, do we like that? Do we want to do it weekly? Because I can certainly tell Eddie to, provide it for the week or whatever, and we do it maybe on Friday or something for the week.
I think doing it weekly would be too hard to track, because I think people are going to get missed. I like to celebrate the achievements as they come in, because I think that creates energy. If you go 6 days and you don't see anything, no energy, no achievements, no rank ups, no nothing, you're like, that can be very discouraging to coaches that are on the fence. I like the constant energy. I like being able to pop on if you did whatever. I think, certainly to Lauren's point, we could probably share more heart on there, but we all have to remember as coaches, those numbers reflect their lives changed. And those people losing weight and their lives being improved. So they're more than just numbers and income. Those are actually lives being changed.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can only earn it. That's what I love, that they changed the compensation plan and we're being rewarded for reaching to more people, right? Like it's because we've reached to more, whereas that used to just be a given, that 3% that it's because we are expanding our reach. I want to honor everybody. I know we went over, so thank you for your feedback on this. We'll see you guys tonight on Team Time. Invite your team, and we'll see you on next time. Thanks, you guys.